Yes. Welcome to Arulian Tarot. I have some channeled messages today. If you hear any background, I'm in my car, but I want to get into it right now. There is someone out there who was very resilient. I mean, you survived witchcraft, people summoning demons and demonology aspect of things. And um, you're you're a fucking warrior. Let me just put it like that, right? You've learned to. You're like a master alchemist. You straight up integrated your light and your shadow. You broke belief systems that were holding you back in life, and you turned everything that awakening had offered you into wisdom. Straight up, like you. It almost gives me like the world card, right? It's a sense of completion. I think what you have to do now is cut through obstacles. Take some action into something. Whether if it's creation, movement, um, whatever the case may be, it's very imperative that you don't look upon the past. Um, you can still have your boundaries and stuff like that. Like you basically came out of spiritual war, and now you're in this like phase of integrating everything that you have had learned about yourself during isolation, nobody helping you. You went through that all by yourself, and you were able to cut through a whole bunch of BS between what was really happening in the spirit realm versus like certain imageries. When I say certain imageries, I'm talking about how do I say it? Metaphorical. Some of y'all may have gone a different route into a certain belief system or went to a different route, like as far as like spirituality and stuff. That's cool. uh, you were able to look at things in an esoteric and uh, either metaphysical or some people have gone through kundalini awakenings and were taking certain images for face value, and in turn you did your research, you did your due diligence, and realized that it was everything happening within you, and that was based on your belief system, right? Not only that, um, sometimes the imagery can be pretty drastic, let's just put it that way, but you're able to uh, use your discernment, right? Not fitting into a narrative of what people needed you to uh, see in the physical, if that makes sense. You used your mind, your intellect, your analytical, everything to cut through all of the deception, all of the obstacles, all the BS. And now you're establishing rules, right? It's almost like the protector archetype came through within you. And it kind of gives me like leadership. Yeah. But it could be a leadership for yourself self-mastery, so you can help others who go through um, certain things. Yeah, that's what being of service is all about. Um, you know, you give help when needed, and if help is offered to you, you're beginning to trust your discernment a little bit more. You're not so much in your intuition. You're not so much in that fight or flight, if any. Really, you're not in fight or flight when it's unnecessary. It's like your root chakra finally just kind of chilled out. Um, you also have to be, at this time, careful of what you share. You definitely have to be careful about what you share, because whatever you're planning on doing, move in silence, right? Because if anything, you've learned from the past how you would have these ideas and you'd share them, or you'd have certain experiences and you'd share them. And then your experience would become someone else's experience. Your ideas would become someone else's ideas. And in turn, that hindered you. And it kind of, it's like when you, okay, if you think things into existence, that's one thing. But when you speak things into existence, especially to other people, they can do one or two things with it. They could congratulate you, be like, hey, that's a good idea, and not want to steal that idea behind your back, right? That's where the copycat energy comes from. Or they could do another thing where they could be like, that's great, and copy off of whatever you want to do. Or they could downplay it and be like, I don't think that's such a good idea. You shouldn't do that. So already planting doubt into your head, you know, and then they end up stealing your ideas. Right? So this is the time to be silent about what you want, what you're working on, definitely. Um, you having a turning point for opportunities. You're kind of going with the flow. Um, Certain changes are going to be occurring. It's like kind of like what you're sowing is returning to you. All right. And even if you were in or currently in that state of integration where you're not really doing much, it's okay, because I think what you initially had set out for, to want to accomplish, you know, that is ultimately going to turn in your favor. It's like this upheaval had to happen. So whatever you was doing before, it, it wasn't in your alignment, right? Because that was your past self. This is your new self, where um, the upgrade is happening. And I think right now you're being decisive, you know, using your logic. Um, you're a problem solver. You basically cut through the illusions. I think I just said that earlier into the video, but you literally cut through illusions that was meant to make you appear a certain way to people. And also you were able to cut through the illusions of self, you know, expectations of others wasn't your thing. Like, and this is also the visual illusions too. Like, there are some visions that are valid, and then there are some visions that are illusions. There are some visions that are metaphorical, and you kind of had to give yourself time. You couldn't have anybody rush you through that process and have you make drastic decisions that would in turn alter your life, either in a way that was short lived of what you wanted, or where your life was short lived, right? Or leave you in compromising positions. Like, you needed that time to purge everything, and you did it. That gives me the Ace of Swords kind of energy. Um, you're having some type of balanced exchange of energy. You know, even though, you know, the love and support is there, it starts with you, but you could also be getting love and support from individuals that, um, you chose to come out of isolation, and, you know, you might not be where you want to be right now, but you are around people that have similar views and ideas. You have individuals that actually um, let you be your independent self without pushing any agendas, any beliefs, none of that. It also talks about like resolving conflicts. So there might be a misunderstanding, a conflict that had arose during your time of the spiritual war. And, you know, things may have gotten out of hand to where maybe you took imagery as what was really happening, right? And instead, it was all metaphorical. It was, could have been someone showing you what was happening, but because of dreams, everything is in a metaphorical, at a metaphorical standpoint. So just keep that in mind. Right now, you're learning to be in harmony with life. It gives me Sun card energy. Um, the obstacles are fading. Like, you're actually like beginning to shine, and it doesn't have to be in a public view type of sense. It's within you, because only you, and obviously the individuals that, how do I say this, that were involved know, but only you know your true self, right? You know what you what you've been through internally, things that you couldn't tell another person unless they had actually gone through the same thing and was able to integrate and break through the illusions and have that delusional thinking and stuff. And because of that, you have victory. Um, I think that people who successfully get out of the illusions and disillusionment and a belief system where you have to go somewhere, you have to be uh, something that is going against everything that you stand for. It's like you're stepping into your own power. You're stepping into power um, of self. All right, you've gained your independence back, and all this kind of sums up is like not everything is as it seems. It gives me moon card energy. You have inner guidance. Everything's a lot more clearer now, and you're actually trusting your instincts because um, where you may have had little to no boundaries when it came to individuals, and then you went through the spiritual warfare aspect and you didn't trust anybody, right? You're like, everybody's suspect out this bitch. And now it's kind of calming down where it's just like you're having like proper discernment for, you can easily tell uh, who is meant to be in your life, who is not meant to be in your life. I just bought this new Oracle deck and I love it. It has some sigils on it, but it's not like demonology sigils or whatever. It's just it's a beautiful deck, and it's so awesome. All right, so I pulled 3 cards, and the first card that came out was change. So you're currently in transition, and things are changing for you. Things have changed within you. You know how to um, operate your own energetic field when it comes to, I don't know, some of y'all might have went through Kundalini activations or fought off certain things. So basically, okay, so you're going through some changes, and it's gonna be for the better because you've already been through the worst part, right? This is basically, you got initiated, right? And some people will stay in that phase of um, needing to feel like, unconsciously needing to feel like a victim. So, and that comes from not being heard, right? That feeling of not being heard. You can check the chakra system. It goes to a certain age. I think it might have been, I want to say maybe like the throat chakra or possibly the solar plexus or something, but definitely check it out. And that's also some work that you could do on yourself too. If you look at the chakra system and each age that it correlates with, you can easily figure it out a lot better. And, you know, recognize those traits. The first part of healing is like recognizing exactly where your trauma is coming from and stuff. But it looks like, you're doing pretty good. Went through some changes. You came out on the other side. You're doing all right. You gained some wisdom. This is the next card, the wisdom card. You came you came out of there with some wisdom, and it's almost like things are kind of calming down. But you've gained knowledge, you've gained wisdom, you gained mystery, you gained friggin' magic. You are the master friggin' alchemist in this whole friggin' situation. And the last card that I have here is good luck. So, and it has a pretty little ladybug on there. It kind of brings me back to when I was going through that spiritual process, and ladybugs were just flocking to me, just all the time. Not flocking. I think it's kind of like birds, but you know what I mean. Like, it felt like I would just like turn my head and I'd see a ladybug on my hand or something like that, and it was just really beautiful. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So that's, and nature itself can can and will respond to you when you're in that heightened um, spiritual initiation. Like animals, everything. You'll just be attracted to them, or they'll be attracted to you, and those are like your guides, all right? Because they're not going to steer you wrong. You feel me? And they're just letting you know, like, hey, we're here. We're going to get you through this and stuff. Sometimes that's what you got to do in that process. But like I said, you went through a change, you gained wisdom out of it, and you have good luck no matter what situation you're in or where you go in life. And it is a beautiful feeling. And I am proud of you. And there's nowhere else to go but up. Right? Like, you were down, way down, to the point where your inner world became your outer world. Straight up, like on steroids. So, it almost feels like do some manifestation techniques or something. And part of the manifestation is not just sitting around and just thinking about stuff. Like, you also have to put things into, certain actions. Um, but yeah, like, the universe actually does respond to um, your energy, not so much of what you put out there, like verbally. So you want to keep that in mind whenever you're doing something. And like I said, be silent about whatever creative process that you're embarking on, or whether it's travel, whatever. Move in silence. You made it through the worst of the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that are still under certain belief systems, or listening to what other people say about what's going on with them in their inner self, their body, and everything. um, so definitely keep that in mind. All right, I love y'all. And I'm not going to reach out asking if I could do readings on you for fees. uh, if you want to donate to my channel, that's fine. But yeah, I'm just here because this is what I like doing. All right, with that, I am out. Everybody have a great, harmonious day. Peace.